Hey guys, Nikhil here from HomeBanao. I have with me the management team of Nemmadi. We've recently published a home inspection video. If you haven't seen it already, check it out here. But I have with me Uday and Suresha, who are the management team of Nemmadi. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So I was really interested and curious about what they do, specifically because they are talking about quality in construction in a very objective sense. Is that the right way of putting it?
Yes.
So why is this important? Now, normally speaking, you're talking about one of your most expensive purchase in your life. You have no idea what sort of quality you're getting. And I mean, Uday, Suresha, and the team at Nemmadi, they have tried to figure out an objective way, and I think to a certain extent they have, to qualify and verify your home's quality objectively, right?
Yes.
So, can you take me through that process? I have some questions for you here.
Sure.
Starting with, the most basic thing, like how do you check for civil quality in a home?
What we check is basically the workmanship quality.
Okay.
So workmanship quality involves all the finishes.
Okay.
There's a finishing process when a building is built. In the end, they finish everything with the painting, plastering, the doors, windows, the flooring. We check all that. To start with, we start with the floorings basically. Flooring will have a lot of defects like undulation. The joints are not properly done. And more importantly, it will have hollowness. Hollowness in the sense the tile or the marble slab what they put, bottom will be hollow.
Okay.
So that will make a drumming noise when you walk around. And also when you place a object with a weight, something like a cot, one of the leg of the cot or a dining table, when it rests at a particular point, it is bound to break if the bottom is hollow.
Because of the point load. There's a point load. He talked about, a chair or a cot or a dining table. Leg transfers a point load on a hollow spot. There should be absolutely no hollowness in terms of debonding or any other way under a tile. But after some research, we found out that the Australian specifications allows for about 20%. 20% of hollowness under a tile. Knowing that it's not possible to have 100%, bonding, we've said that any tile, individual tile which has got more than 20% hollowness, we identify that as a hollowed tile. The way that we do that is you take a mallet and then you tap the tile. So our engineers go through every single tile in the apartment to find this. Not only inside, but also on the balcony.
Okay. So when you hit it with a mallet, like how do I know it's hollow?
So you can hear the sound, right? So if there is something that's hollow, it makes a vastly different sound compared to something that is not hollow. As he said, it's like a drumming noise. So when you tap on a drum or a bongo, you hear that dung sound. Similarly, that's the sound you hear when it's something, there's an air pocket below the tile surface. If there is none, then you don't hear it. It's a nice rebound of the hammer.
Done. So you start with checking the flooring hollowness. What do you do after that in civil checks?
So after finishing the flooring, we check the walls. In walls, we check for the undulations. We use a torch to know when you leave the beam of the torch, so you can make out the undulations. That is one thing.
Why does undulations generally happen in a home?
That's basically, it depends on the skill of the mason who does the plastering work.
Okay.
So unless he's highly skilled, he will not be able to finish it in perfect line.
Okay.
So see, there are different types. So what he's talking about, there are different types. So you have block work and then you have full form that's done, right? So aluminum full form. So when that is used, it's better because you don't need that much. But then when there is plastering over a block work, so it can be bricks, it could be porotherm, it could be hollow blocks. So that has got different. So he can explain a little more about that. We have a lot of clients who ask us if there's a difference in that. For us, we are checking quality after it's been built. There is no difference. But because the way that things are done using full form, aluminum full form work, the walls are much better formed so that there is fewer chances of undulation. So you can add to that, Mr. Suresh.
Yeah.
So again, like talking about different types of undulations and cracks in the wall, what you guys check. Like, why do they occur, and I mean, how do you identify it? How do you objectify it?
Basically, it's by the visual observation. So the code, we follow the 𝗒𝗺𝗺 code, in which they say if you stand from a wall about 1.5 meters away, if you still see a crack, we identify that as a snag. So we don't go very near to it, but 1.5 meter we allow. And even for the flooring also, any defects which is visible from a distance of 1.5 meter, it is taken as a snag.
So guys, if you're wondering what a snag is basically a defect in civil terms.
Yeah, so the jargon is snag. In translation to normal English is a problem or a defect. The reason why we refer to those, the Singapore, the Australian, is because in India today we don't have prescribed levels apart from the Bureau of Indian Standard and the National Building Code. So they don't define what a crack is. How do you identify a crack? Right? Home inspection is a new nascent idea that's come into India. It's only been 4-5 years. People are still understanding what the concept is, and we are one of the pioneers who've started it. So it takes a little bit of time for people to understand, but in the meanwhile, we are looking at different ways that we can bring good know-how into this field.
Of course. Moving on, so flooring is done, your surface finish is done. What's next after that in civil?
So then we go for the doors, the windows. Here the shutters are checked, and also the frames are checked for any defects. And then the hardware in the sense the iron parts, like the hinges, whether all the screws are fixed, whether the bolts are operating properly, and even the locks, whether they function properly. We check each and everything, and whether the doors close properly, and all this hardware should operate without any noise, without any difficulty. So those things we check.
As intended by the manufacturer.
Correct, makes sense. Because manufacturer would have intended something and say there's an issue in installation or something.
Yeah, so it all comes down to the individual installing. So obviously the builder always gives good parts. They want to give good parts. Then you have the contractor whose intention is to do a good job. But at the end of the day, the weakest link in the whole chain is the last person doing the job. So if that workman is not trained, or that workman is not having a good day at that particular moment, then there may be a defect, right?
Makes sense. What else happens in civil apart from these?
Then we move on to the floor slopes. Okay. So floor slopes are very important because in case of toilets and the balconies, whatever water falls there has to get drained quite fast. In case of bathrooms, we have a little steeper slope because we want the water to get drained faster. So for balconies, it will be slightly flatter. Okay. And it has to go to a particular spot when it is drained out. We check for the slopes by two ways. One is we use the spirit level for checking the slope trend. And in case of any particular pockets that will not be visible by spirit level, then we actually pour water and check. There should not be any local ponding. Makes sense.
So, and also, this is not some random slope that we're looking at. The Bureau of Indian Standards mentions slopes that need to be followed in the balcony, in the toilet wet area, and in bathtubs. All of these are different, 1 in 60, 1 in 120, 1 in 90. They're all different because the speed of water egress is different.
Makes sense. Moving on, what else is there in civil which should be checked in any given home?
The next thing is the ceiling. Ceiling sometimes will have some improper paint finish. So the paint finish also we check in walls also. When they do the painting, it cannot be uniform. It could be patchy, it could have some shade variation. And even ceiling also we check for the paint finish as well as any cracks, any paint peeling off, so such kind of things we check. So after checking the ceiling, we check for the doors. So the front doors and the inner doors will have different dimensions. The builder would have specified particular height and width. So we check for the height and width of the front door, the inner doors, and then also we check for the door, the ceiling height. Okay. Ceiling height is specified in different projects differently. That also we check and confirm. That is as per the specification of the builder.
Superb. So normally, does this cover the range of civil checks which you guys perform in Nemmadi?
Yes, on average, but then towards the end also we do what is called for dampness check, that is part of civil but also part of plumbing. So it is a hybrid. So we do that as a separate check at the end, where our engineers use a thermographic camera, which is an infrared based technology, to find out if there is any cool spot on any surface. Now, a cool spot could mean that it is dampness, or it could mean that a jet of cool air is blowing on it. You don't know, there may be an AC vent. Now, in conjunction with the moisture meter, our engineers will check the surface to see if the moisture extent is low, medium or high, right? And then in conjunction with the cool spot and a moisture meter, you say that yes, there is actually moisture there. And then we do an analysis to say why that dampness could have occurred. It could be because of a leak in the bathroom, it could be because of rain the previous day, it could be water flowing in from somewhere, it could be any reason.
Superb. So guys, this were all the different civil checks which any home should conduct. Nemmadi of course performs them, but if you'd like, you should check out their website and their blog. They have a lot more information about this. I have linked it in the description. By the way, continue following HomeBanao and subscribe to it, because we have few more videos about different aspects like electrical, plumbing, etc., which every home you should be checking. So stay subscribed and follow this playlist. See you guys in our next video.